Alright, you guys, it might be a new season, but the results are still the same because Barcelona have just taken Valencia to task. It ends 6-0 at the Estadio Johan Cruyff, and we need to talk about it from the goals to the lineups and everything in between. But first, if you're seeing my videos for the first time or you've been watching without subscribing, hey guys, I am Just Max, and on this channel I talk about football from the La Liga to the Prem and definitely the UCN, and of course it's always going to be Vizca Barca for me. So this is something that you're interested in, please stick around, be my friend, be my homie. Let's dive into this game because there is a lot to talk about. Starting from the lineup though, Barcelona did have a much changed lineup from what we are used to. We did have Juan Garcia in goal. Jules Koundé was in right back position for Barcelona. He has had to win his spot back into the starting 11 and we love to see it, and he had a great game. Eric Garcia comes into that center back position, partnering with Kubasi, who was rested in our last game, but we're so glad to see him because boy is this 18-year-old the leader of our defense. Gerard Martin though comes in on left back. He is going to be deputizing for Alejandro Balde, who was unfortunately injured during the international break. Although he wasn't really injured on duty with the international team, he was injured while in training. In midfield though, we did have Pedri, who has become our midfield stalwart. He is sensational. He had a wonderful game today, but partnering with Pedri in that double pivot was Marc Casado because we did have Frenkie de Jong unfortunately picking up an injury on international duty while away with the Dutch team. And again, he had a great game. Coming into the Barcelona front line though, we did have Rooney Baggi, who comes in on that right hand position for Lamine Yamal, who again picked up injury while on duty with Spain, and we could see that Hansi Flick in his pre-match conference was not happy with the way the Spanish FA handled the Lamine Yamal situation, especially because it was alleged that they were giving him painkillers to go through the 2 games while they were on international duty. I certainly felt that they could have handled him a little bit better. On the Spanish FA though, I will say this: you guys want to learn to take care of your assets a little bit more. We want to have Lamine Yamal available for Spanish duty for the next 15 years, not for the next 1 to 2 years. Stop being short-sighted there and be more long-sighted. But in the attacking lineup though, we did have Fermin Lopez coming in on that 10 position, and boy does he love playing Valencia. Marcus Rashford though does start this game ahead of Raphinha because for some reason Raphinha was late to, I think it was a meeting or a team meeting about this game, something like that. He was late, so he was being punished by Hansi Flick, and I saw a few people who were a bit worried because of the absentees in the team already. For Hansi Flick to then have the guts to bench Raphinha in a game of this magnitude, it does say a lot about what he thinks and what he will or will not accept. But then again, leading the line ahead of Robert Lewandowski was Ferran Torres, and I felt like he should have gotten away from this game with a few goals. That did not happen, unfortunately. That was the only downside in this match for me. But starting into this match, I felt like this was Barcelona's opener. Forget about everything that we've done the last three games. Those were not Barcelona. This here is Barcelona kicking off the season, sending a strong word to all our rivals around the league and beyond, that this Barcelona is still capable of firing on all cylinders. When I see a Barcelona match that we can win, I just feel it in my bones. And it's not because Valencia are a poor team, don't get me wrong on that. It was just the way they attacked the game, the intensity, the way they recovered the ball, the way the ball was able to reach the owner of the pass. And honestly, finally, I think we can agree, like the first 3 games that we played, or maybe the 2 games between the Levante game and definitely the Rayo Vallecano game, the pitch was subpar. So today we could clearly see what playing on a pitch that is up to our standards can do for us. And it was amazing to see. Barcelona were really cutting apart the Valencia team. They weren't able to breathe. I love seeing Pedri on the ball. He's just magical, for lack of a better word. He is just magical on the ball. The way he was able to combine with Barcelona's midfield, it was sensational. I have to give a huge shout out on the day to Jules Koundé, because many a time I saw him roaming, going forward a lot for Barcelona, and I was like, oh, look at you. And I felt like he was only doing so because he had been given the license from Hansi Flick and the coaching staff to go forward and try his luck and combine with the forward players, and I live for it. Unfortunately though, he was combining with Rooney Baggi, who is the only Barcelona player on the day that I would say did not live up to expectation, but that is to be expected because today he was making his debut for Barcelona, and while we would have wanted it to go a bit differently for him, that was not the case. There's still a lot for him to learn, and there is still a lot for us to take away from this game. Like I said earlier, when you see a game that Barcelona are going to be able to win, you just know, because there was that one moment in the first half where Ferran Torres, who had that shot where he was onside, but I think he may have felt like he was offside on that point, at that point. So the way he kind of like took the shot, it just slightly crept over the top of the Valencia goalpost. The goalkeeper had no idea that it was coming. So I felt like that would have been a wonderful opportunity for Barcelona to open the scoring against Valencia, but we will not be made to wait for too long, because again, Barcelona kept on trying a number of combinations here and there, and again, the best part of it all was the way that they were able to maintain that intensity and cut apart that Valencia entire team. I want to say the Valencia defense, but it was the entire team. It was almost as if they weren't even on the pitch. It was like hot knife on butter. They were just so sweet. They were just so smooth. And on the 29th minute, a sensational pass from Ferran Torres finds Fermin Lopez on the wide angle for Barcelona. He takes it so well, and he opens up his body and slots the ball. It was just like a very acute angle, slots the ball way past the Valencia goalkeeper, and I live for it. And in that moment, I have to come back and say, this is why I was on this app. This is why all summer long I kept on saying, Fermin Lopez is not for sale. Fermin Lopez needs to be a Barcelona player. I don't fault Chelsea for wanting to get Fermin Lopez. Obviously, he is a wonderful player for Barcelona. He is a talent. For Barcelona, our season is long, and this is a team that we expect to be competing for everything from the Champions League to the Copa del Rey and definitely the La Liga. So we have to be able to have that level of squad depth, and sometimes to the different type of profile that we can use to attack a game. I will say though, I was a little bit disappointed in the first half that we only went into the halftime with one goal, despite the fact that I would say we had over 10 shots. But again, I wasn't perturbed because the way the game was shaping up, Valencia, they did not bring anything to the table. They lacked the intensity. They barely made any kind of attack into the Barcelona half. It was almost as if we were a little bit too comfortable in this match. So I wasn't too worried. I knew the goals would come if we continue to do exactly what we were doing. In the second half though, Hansi Flick does make a few changes that changes the way the match looked. At halftime, he takes off Rooney Baggi, bring on Raphinha, whom I thought needed to come on anyway, because Rashford was having a great foray on the left-hand side. But I always felt like even though Rashford was having a great game, once he gets down to the byline, it's almost as if he loses an idea of what he wants to do. So I thought it was Rashford that was going to be going up, but I was surprised that, it was Rooney Baggi that ended up going up. But to be fair, Rooney was having a worse game than Rashford. We did end up seeing Robert Lewandowski coming for Barcelona in the second half. We did end up getting to see Dani Olmo. Marc Bernal made his debut, and of course he also had a great game, his debut since his injury, that is. He had a great game, had an assist for Barcelona, and of course Jeffrey Torrent from La Masia also made his debut for Barcelona. These were some of the substitutions that Hansi Flick made in the second half. But coming into that second half, I thought that Barcelona certainly ups the ante, especially once Raphinha was on the pitch. I felt like he had like a beef, like more like something to prove, because he was punished ahead of this match. So he definitely came in with a chip on his shoulder, and he was definitely like causing chaos, in the Valencia half, and it would not take long before Raphinha, will find the back of the net within the 53rd minute of the second half, and it was again a combination play between himself and Marcus Rashford. And when I tell you I live for it, y'all know, if you've watched my videos long enough, you know that I certainly think that Raphinha is the Ballon d'Or. I have had to accept the fact that we probably will not be winning the Ballon d'Or. That is Raphinha, but I feel like this man is so talented. He has shown up for Barcelona clutch at every given moment all throughout last season, and I'm certainly glad that he is picking up exactly where he left off last season. I feel like this is it. I love to see it. That combination with Raphinha to give Barcelona that second goal cushion was exactly what we needed in that moment, and it would not take long. I think once that second goal came in, I don't really know, it's as if the guts, the zeal to defend, or well, it was not really to defend, it was more like the wind was taken out of the sails of Valencia. Within a few minutes, let's say 10 minutes after that Raphinha second goal, Fermin Lopez was on the score sheet again, and this one was a long range screamer from Fermin Lopez. And let me take a moment to appreciate this goal from Fermin Lopez. Here is why. When we first got introduced to the character that is Fermin Lopez in that one pre-season match, I think it was against Real Madrid, we got introduced to Fermin Lopez as a player who loves to light it up. He loves to rip it and grip it. Like when he sees a long range shot, he is about to take it. But over the course of, like, I want to say 2 seasons, like, he's really tried to modify, like, his game to attack the box a little bit more, I suppose, and to be more picky about when he lights up a shot, which personally, as someone who loved him for what he was able to do in terms of those screamers, I have certainly missed it, because Fermin Lopez, the way he plays and his unpredictability is what we need from Barcelona, because opponents tend to expect Barcelona players to attack the box, to tiki-taka their way to the goal. But Fermin Lopez is not that kind of person. Like, so when you're defending Fermin Lopez, for example, it's kind of very difficult for you to understand, is he going to light it up or is he going to drive? It makes you be on your toe, because you don't know exactly what he's going to do in this moment. And that's exactly what the Valencia players today found themselves in a situation, because he could attack the box if he wanted to, or he could have taken a long range shot. And today he took that screamer from so way wide that I said, that's my guy. And this here is why I say we cannot sell him, because he brings a different dynamic, a different profile to how we play, and I live for it. But of course, he was one of 2 who would end up having a brace in this match, because Raphinha did end up getting a brace of his own as well. Not too long after Fermin Lopez scores, Barcelona is continuing to press Valencia. Raphinha ends up combining with, I think it was a long range shot. At this point, I want to say it's Marc Casado. I really want to, but I'm not really clear on who actually puts that long ball into the box. It does take a lot of things for Raphinha to do before it's able to be a goal, because he needed to control it. He needed to just for the ball with the 2 Valencia defenders. But you can see that tenacity, that hunger, that desire, that zeal that Hansi Flick has been talking about that was lacking in our first 3 games. You could see it today. Like, he was really on one, and he was able to, collect the ball from the two Valencia defenders and hit a shot that was just way beyond the Valencia goalkeeper. And at that point, it's 4-0. But there's still so much time for Barcelona to do a lot of things, because Lewandowski is just coming on. Like, he is here for the party. He is about to have his own fun, and I live for it, because he comes on in the 76th minute. He also adds to Barcelona's goal. He finds himself like a wonderful through ball combination play between himself and Dani Olmo, finds him almost, I would say, unmarked. Not really, but it's kind of like the way he just comes in and he just knows where to be. They play the ball, a little bit of a ball over the top, and he just dinks the ball a little bit beyond the goalkeeper, and it's 5-0 for Barcelona. And at this point, I'm starting to think, are Barcelona going to replicate what we did last season against Valencia? Because last season we certainly put 5 past them in the Copa del Rey, we put 7 past them in the La Liga. So could we match up to that? Not quite, because Robert Lewandowski will end up making a 6, but not 7 today. He did end up making a 6. Again, it was another pass for Marc Bernal, who was making his debut from his injury. If you remember correctly, Marc Bernal was out for over a year because he tore his ACL around this time last year, and it's so glad to see him back and immediately making an impact. He puts a pass that finds Robert Lewandowski. Initially, it's thought to be offside, but the way Robert Lewandowski is able to find himself at the right place at the right time, it needs to be studied by number 9s for generations to come. I certainly think that Robert Lewandowski is one of the greatest strikers of our time. It's unfortunate that he was playing in the Ronaldo and Messi era, but definitely he is up there. The career that he has had, he should be so proud. Initially it was ruled for offside, but on the second check with VAR, it is 6-0 for Barcelona. And I believe this is the best time. We could not have had a good time to make this kind of a statement win, because we're going to be having the UEFA Champions League start up this week. First game against Newcastle. We've had conversations around if Barcelona can be able to carry on the same level of momentum that we saw from them last season. Of course, the first 3 games of the season did not really help in terms of like what Barcelona were able to do. Was also the conversation about, you know, teams being able to figure out that Barcelona high line and the way Barcelona defend and all whatnot. So to have this kind of statement win at this point in time, for me, this is our season opener. It's like we're taking a step back, we're resetting, and we're letting people know in the La Liga and definitely across the world that Barcelona are still a force to be reckoned with. And personally, I feel a bit more confident, I feel a bit more settled going into that game with Newcastle at St. James's Park this week, and we're going there to mash up the place, because my Barcelona are back to scoring goals for fun, and that is what we want to see. And for everybody else in La Liga, oh, you better watch out, because they are certainly clicking on all cylinders. Before the international breaks, I thought maybe this international break would be a time for Barcelona to like settle down and for us to come back and, you know, restart. And I'm glad that that is exactly what the international break has done for us. We settled down, we've come back, we're playing beautiful football, but not just beautiful football though, football with a purpose, not just football with a purpose, but we're also scoring goals for fun. And you love to see it when the confidence is running so high like this. Ooh, child, you should get out of the way, because Barcelona are like a steaming train and I live for every minute of it. But that has been it for me. Up next for Barcelona in La Liga though, it is going to be Getafe, if I remember correctly. That is not going to be an easy game, but again, the confidence from this match is going to carry us through into that match. For the man of the match though, it was awarded to Fermin Lopez, but honestly, a number of people could have won it. Pedri could have won it. Raphinha coming off the bench could have won it, you know, as well. It could have also been won by Robert Lewandowski, who also came off the bench. In terms of goal scorers in La Liga, Kylian Mbappe still leads the race with four goals in 4 games for Real Madrid, but I'm so glad to see Barcelona players enter the chat in a sensational way, because I think Raphinha is now coming up on second with 3 goals. It might be 4, I don't know, but let me know in the comment section. And Robert Lewandowski has opened his account as well, and so has Fermin Lopez. So that's another angle to the La Liga that we will be keeping an eye on as the season progresses. But that has been it for me. I am so excited, I am so hyped. I'll see you midweek where we talk about Barcelona versus Newcastle, and of course everybody else in the UEFA Champions League. But until then, bye guys.